Cursed Necropolis Rio, session 26. Right. And we're probably gonna jump straight into it as well. Keeping in mind of the time here. And we don't want to run too long. So, last time we had established some facts about what was going on in Botafogo here. This part of Rio. You have determined that the area, the neighborhood of Botafogo has been blanketed in very dense terror subaris, which we know are basically emanations from the underworld, which accompany a number of creatures, among them Arisen. But this is terror subaris, and it affected a large area for a sustained period of time with no source that you could locate, which led us to conclude that there is no source here currently. So whatever has been done has passed. But the effect lingers still, and it will linger for some time. Now, as you wandered the streets of this neighborhood gone mad with basically terror rising up from the underworld, you saw some of the Heartless, presumably of Aristides Borges's people, who were hunting down the Amkata that appeared, because they do appear when things like this happen. They do manifest spontaneously. No one needs to summon them when things go wrong this badly. They tend to do that themselves. So several Amkata had breached over to this side from the Twilight Realm and were doing what they do, as the blasphemous necromantic runoff taking the shape of animal flesh. Like whatever these things do, they did that. And the Heartless were sort of combating these, containing them. We saw a ritual being conducted by a circle of Heartless sorcerers, apparently, who good number of them, 5 in fact, gave their lives, apparently, in the ritual to send 2 of these Amkata back to the Twilight. So we saw all these things. We didn't really interfere. We did our own part in fighting the Amkata, where Khufu first learned that there was something very wrong with the lion's jaw relic that he was using as a weapon. We went further into Botafogo. We found the sort of tomb away from tomb that the Sumenant first prophet of the East or Asia, Bektamun, sometimes used while traveling. So Bektamun had a tomb in Botafogo, which you remembered immediately when you heard your prophet ramble on something about the fact that Bektamun's house, the house of Bektamun, has fallen. And you searched this tomb out and went inside to find the modest tomb, because it's not the main one by any means. It contained one of Bektamun's canopic jars, which are one of the most important things that exist for a mummy. And you had found that the jar was broken, and whatever organ was inside, every mummy gets 4 of these, and one of these was here. It was Bektamun's, and whatever organ was inside was burnt to a cinder, which is bad. That means it's destroyed forever. And we found not a lot of else, really, here. And yeah, we did a number of tests with the relic, determined that it was cursed, indeed, doubly so. And eventually, Sobek managed to purge it of this curse, which was, by its nature, quite mystical indeed, as it was something to do with the magic of true names and someone distorting the name of this relic that had cursed it. But that's all been undone now, and we determined that we're going to follow up with the situation that we've been talking about with Aristides, who promised that he would set up some kind of situation where you could potentially get access to or meet some Sardaite vampires who you've been told are being led by the Demon Queen and are thoroughly deplored by Aristides' people, whom he called Karenites. You're not sure what that was about, but you did see a melange of rituals being conducted by these Heartless that seemed to mix ancient and modern, including the old tradition of putting coins on the eyes of the deceased and whatnot. But you're waiting for word, laying low as your cult does, being your cult is paralyzed by the fact that whatever is happening in the favelas, people are disappearing. And now part of this is to do with basically what your cult can tell: mercenary assassins coming in the dead of night, extrajudicial killings all the way, but no open combat in the streets. But it's a plague of like contract killing and assassinations. There's no large gang fights now, which is something that was sort of presumed to be the case by many of the Arisen, but that didn't materialize, at least not yet. But there's a lot of assassins going around now, and it's making everyone very scared because, if there's a group of people who don't have qualms about busting into your house in the dead of night, killing everyone inside, that gives some people pause. Not you, but your cult certainly does, because they're regular people, and they are indeed an enterprise. So there's only a couple of true believers who are not that shaken with these developments, but yeah, your cult is laying low, and you will too for a time. But you get word from Aristides Borges that you are basically good to go. They have set up something. I will put this on the map here. I switched a layer too early. Send that to the token layer. So if you go north, you go to past the Isla del Gobernador on the coast. There is a marker now for Carriris Road. You get word from a heartless messenger that comes to your tomb. There's word from Borges. They've set up some kind of, I think the Heartless probably called it a honeypot and then explained what that is, because it's not a little pot of honey and you have trouble with the context there. They set up some kind of an inn for the Sardahites, because you already knew this. They have been keeping Sardahites out of the city. They're basically saying that Aristides Borges is number one Heartless, and the Heartless of Rio are keeping the Sardahites out of Rio, trying to anyway. So they've intentionally made this scenario now where the Sardahites could actually get a foot in the door, because you guys wanted to have a look at them. And this is where that has now happened. So they've set things up at Carriris Road, and you get told that they made a show of losing because that's what they needed to do to make it look real. And so they've basically lost that area, quote unquote, now to a Sardaite sort of invasion probe. And yeah, they're in the area. You're good to go. You can go take a look around if you wanted to see these people. Now they are there.
Oh yeah, best believe I'm going.
I will go to support my brother in this endeavor.
All right. What is your Do you prepare in any way? You get like an address from this Heartless, and the mission brief, which is basically we were here, we set it up so that it looked like we lost, and we did lose actually, but we made a retreat. It was all planned. They're in the area. We think. Do your thing. This is the address.
Will they tell us how to like? What is the most straightforward way of taking these things out? If they
Kill
just
them.
fighting them? Yeah, but do you burn them? Do you stake them? Do you?
Whatever works, but do it quickly.
Okay, I'll bring a
Is-
nice gun.
I've got the lion's jaw, man. It's all good.
Well, we don't all have relics that can do that. I can make books appear.
Throw books at them.
You should have hunted down the Sphere of Despair or whatever it was called.
Nah, it gave me bad gas. It was not a good relic. It was
You send out the Sun Scarab's path.
also destroyed.
No return.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah. I'll meditate for a time if I have chance in our temple-y place.
Oh yeah, you're all good. You can return your things up because you will have waited. There's a waiting period here where you're laying low. Your cult is doing the same, and then you get word.
Yeah.
Let's say it's gonna be like a couple weeks into the future. Rio is in all kinds of trouble right now because the favelas are unstable because of this, and also Botafogo is not a favela. So now the public, the government of Rio needs to address the fact that there was a neighborhood that wasn't a favela that went really bad for like half a day,
A lot of people.
and people got hurt, things got broken. They are all about that. So Rio is a place where everyone wants to be very careful right now.
I'll see if my guild can. Sorry, my cult can just give me some like body armor or something like that. I know it's like.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Your
Yeah.
guild has enough money for single purchases that are personal equipment.
I mean,
It's fine.
I've got a lot of options in my trunk at this point. However, 30 of these things maybe it'll tear me apart.
You have some experience of that kind of thing from
Exactly.
2,000 years ago in Britain.
I just want to make that a little harder for them in case this doesn't go the way that my brother hopes. I'll ask if he wants to wear some armor, but I feel like he's going to refuse on the grounds he wants to wear his robe and his stick and his axe and his. Could you at least let me like put the axe in like a, I don't know, like a holder or something?
Axe holster?
Yeah. No. Okay.
One does not cage the lion when it hunts.
Yeah. I thought you were going on a diplomatic mission.
Is that not a hunt of a different sort, brother?
Hunt of the heart. Okay.
That's got to be the episode title here.
The
Title
hunt of
card
the
comes up.
heart.
Hunt of the heart. With my profile picture like.
Yeah.
Looking for love.
To be honest, my plan's pretty much to like walk up to the door of this building that they've given us the address of, and given the fact I'm literally wearing like a visage of the face of their queen, I'm hoping that might cause them to react. I'm hoping it also might make them curious enough, because there may not be like original people from Sarda, there may be like descendants or people who have been turned since. I don't know how their like shiz works, but I'm hoping it might make them curious enough. If they rapidly attack us, then we'll just have to deal with them. But I'm confident that like both myself and like Sobek can like deal with like a few Heartless. But I'm hoping they might be curious enough to be like, oh, what's this like random dude just like strutting up with his Billy Biggins out, wearing like a mask that's the face of our queen. Or what I might do is I might, as I get close, take off the mask, because if there are any original Sardarites there, they'll probably recognise me. But we'll see.
Probably. I'm also gonna if we've got some armed forces in our cult, haven't we? We've got a few like not all just pen pushers and militia. You're muted, yeah.
If you want to call up mercenaries, that's a thing you could do. But as said, your cult is laying low. They
Yeah,
can't
all I
make a
want
lot
to
of
do
big
is
moves.
I basically just want to have a loose perimeter around the area. Just if this goes bad, I just don't want to avoid like creating like a mass panic or a lot of human casualties. Because despite me, being accused of not caring for the humanity, don't want to see them just cut down in this endeavor because they're just caught in the middle of this. This is eremite
So,
business of a
what
sort.
does a loose perimeter mean in this context?
A couple of blocks away, just like maybe like 20 to 30 guys. All it is just
20, 30 guys doesn't sound like you want 30 guys with guns ready to kill is what I'm hearing.
Well, we don't need 20 or 30 guys. We're arisen.
not for us, for the people, like just to keep them back. If things go wrong. If things like
Yeah, but the thing is, if we can't like keep these Sardarites back, then what chance do you think mortals with guns have got?
we've still only got arms and legs. It takes time to take out this many things without destroying the city. That's it. We'd have to destroy the city to go that big. Salty, brother.
I think we should just strut in, see what happens, and whatever happens, we'll deal with it. Because if we
want mercenaries, that's fine.
If we rouse the cult to get the mercenaries, we're going to sort of tip our hand, and so that sort of like defeats the point of them laying low at the minute. Because we're trying to wait for this to blow over. Whereas if they sort of stick their head above the parapet, our cult's going to be targeted.
We will do it your way. That's fine. Okay.
Plus, as well, when it all goes horribly wrong, you'll get to tell me that you told me so.
Not for the first time or the last.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know you love it.
But it's always the first time because you forget.
Yeah. I did laugh at that. I wonder if probably that box could be bad. Yeah, I think it might.
Okay.
It's okay, because the joke's on me, because I'm going to be the one that owned it the first time, like thousands of years ago. Where's the bread? Oh!
Fuck! Vampires. That was the vampire box. Where's the bread box?
Yeah. I'm sure I left a note.
We don't keep the vampire box in the kitchen. Look, why is this here? Go fool. Right. So.
Okay.
So you get, like, you roll up as if this was a, I don't know, like a.
Yeah, my plan's
Furious movie.
My plan's pretty much the Gandalf plan from like Moria. He walks up and like bangs on the door with his staff.
I'm gonna make myself look like a mercenary though, with a body armor and like a hat, an earpiece, that kind of stuff.
And thus begins the spin-off series Rambo and the Wizard.
Yeah.
They drew the first ink, not me. Okay.
I hope this is a fruitful encounter rather than disaster the last time we were at Sada.
Well, put it this way: if it goes terribly badly, they're going to find themselves confronted by like a giant stone man wailing on them with an enchanted axe, probably backed up by whatever like undead I can summon from the area. Assuming my powers don't work on them.
That would be a considerable amount of Sabaris on the populace.
Yeah, but to be fair, if like a load of vampires are like throwing down, that's going to be the least of my worries. Besides, when someone goes like, "Oh, what's happened to this?" we can be like, "Oh, it must be the same thing that happened in Multifocal."
I feel like we haven't got a Sugarloaf Mountain as well, so you might be on the lower end of your.
Yeah, but see, most of my powers I can use at low level.
That's good.
And there's only a few I can't use at the minute. And one of them might be like the Raising Mass Undead, but.
Yeah, I was just looking that up because we can talk about this before we go anywhere. Just taking a look at your second.
We established last session. I'm at second 5, which is just the cusp of big boy powers. As I pulled that naughty enchantment off your axe.
Okay, here we go. So, you're at what level, Sechem?
2.
Kufu? 2. Okay, well, I'm glad to tell you that you can use second level utterances still.
Sweet. That's most of mine then.
Yeah.
There's a few I can't use the highest level powers of, but.
Yeah. Yeah, which is all of them, because all of them require at least 5 Sechem to use the top tier thing.
Yeah, it's like I can still command the dead and infuse corpses and animate them and stuff like that.
All those forests, I told you. Burn you out. I know you think they're making a forest right now, but don't.
Yeah, because most of mine have only got it like tier 2 anyway, so.
Yep, so you can use your pillars to boost your stats, strength, stamina, dex, 1-to-1.
Yep.
And you can do that once per, go. So
Yeah.
that has slowed down considerably. You can still use 1 and 2 tiers of your utterances. And your stat maximum is 5. So everything's kind of normal. Your boosting is greatly hindered, and you can't do this top tier. So.
Yep.
And you're at 5, Sobek?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're still good for all your utterance shit. Up to and including the 3rd tier. So, yeah, whatever preparations you want to do before going in, let me know. You wanted to go and look like a private military contractor?
Just kind of, yeah. Just obviously put the armor on. Just make it look like I'm a mercenary rather than a risen. Just at first glance.
Yeah. It's fairly easy to do if you don't walk around with a wizard robe, a magic mask, and a lion's jaw for an axe.
Kind of look like his bodyguard. Get a nice gun.
Mm-hmm.
What else would I do?
We were talking about Sugarloaf. Is that something you guys want to do before you head into this whole thing?
Yeah, why not? Why not? If we can do, I may as well. I mean,
I created a favor. Hopefully.
So, because it is not an exact thing, it doesn't follow an exact cycle that you can tell anyway. Let's give a. Okay. Khufu, please roll 2d10.
Okay.
Okay. No, you investigate. It hasn't recharged.
Okay.
I was looking for at least one, 6+. Unfortunately, no. Okay, so it hasn't recharged yet. It will the next time we have the opportunity, because it hasn't until now, but it will next time we try. Okay. So, you're a mercenary, you're a wizard.
Yep.
We're all good for a night on town. And then we cut into a new scene. I think I was gonna have a picture for this, but I did not get it prepared. So we don't have visuals, unfortunately, but we're going in. So, my place in my notes here just jumped away where I wanted it to be. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to this road, which is called Carreras Road. And you roll up. It is not really in the outskirts at all. Rio is quite the big city, but it is getting away from, the sort of downtown stuff quite a bit, indeed. And this is turning, well, I guess you could call it the outskirts, really. There's a lot more greenery and a lot less buildings, and it's still on the coast though, and there's a lot of civilization around.
Hey man, I'm all about that greenery.
But it's getting away from the the high rises and the beaches that you guys are used to. This is more like cracked pavement. There's sort of untended vegetation going around. Trees aren't planted in neat rows, and
This
is going even further, because you're going into what is ostensibly kind of like a lonely side road that has, among other things, a shipping sort of depot area, which is nothing fancy. It's basically a dusty field with shipping containers in it for storage, and no like hangars or anything. It's just a dusty field, and there's a lot of trees around as well, of course, framing the whole area. You can see the you presume to be habitations that are in the general area as you pass them. When you, by the way, how do you get here? Do you take a cab? Do you have a driver? What's going on?
I think probably just get a cab to like nearby and then walk the last bit of the journey.
Yeah. So you walk down this cracked pavement road. On either side, as you approach the sort of turn where Carreras Road starts, you can see these habitations which seem to be made of, like, maybe they're all fenced in some way. You think maybe the trying to fence your property is not very efficient if you do it with like cast off bits of wood, but you know, they do what they can, obviously much less well to do than the areas of Rio you traffic in.
Can we sense anything like
No
Sechem-wise?
Sechem so far.
I didn't think so, but you never know.
Yeah, no, it's good checking. But yeah, it's it wouldn't be rural, but it's sort of the much less glitzy and a lot more poverty-stricken periphery on the coast, which is sort of halfway between industrial and wasteland, and then there's some domiciles spread in here and there. So you see like sacks of because it's a shipping area, so there's absolutely massive sacks of salt in what to us as viewers would look like plastic giant sacks, basically, that have writing on the outside in Portuguese saying that this is salt. Keep dry and clean. And you watch as these sacks are in like a dusty pile next to some rocks and a bunch of bushes. And you continue on. The domiciles get fewer. It starts to become more of like, maybe that was like a shipping hangar at one point, but now it's just like a half a wall and some, awnings.
I think if possible, on our way past these like dusty sacks of salt, I'm gonna like just pick up like a couple of handfuls of like the salt and put like a handful in each pocket of my robe.
Yeah, it is like, considering you've learned about the massive abundance of this era already, but still your ancient mind, especially Sobek, you remember salt used to be a whole thing. These guys just have a bunch of sacks lying around here.
I think as well, from my sort of like point of view, with my sort of like occult and superstitious knowledge, obviously I know that salt's like a big thing in various rituals and superstitions. So I'm like, do you know what? Having a couple of pockets of salt isn't going to hurt, and it might be useful.
No harm in it, I suppose.
A worst case, it'll keep my pockets dry.
Yeah, and then you can spice up a papaya.
I will ask my
stew.
My masked brother on the way. Do you believe that your ex-wife is going to be here?
I doubt she will be here herself. If she is the commander of these creatures, but it would depend on how important possession of this area and how secure they believe it to be. Also, it would depend on how much she has changed since I last saw her. I expect a considerable amount. There are too many variables for me to make any sort of accurate prediction as to whether she'll be here or not. My suspicion.
Are your intentions to destroy her, or to?
In order to answer you, brother, I would have to know myself, and as I do not, I cannot answer you.
I do not recall me taking a wife myself. Asterisk mark for future flashback. But I know you mourned her for a time.
Indeed, and depending on what we find, I may yet have cause to mourn her further. But since she is my wife, and I made a promise to that effect, and as you're aware, brother, I keep my promises. Therefore, I need to find out what has become of her before I can decide what I need to do, if anything. It is my belief that we'll probably not find her there herself, but if we can find some of her people and arrange a meeting that will allow me to move further, since at least once I know one way or the other, we can then formulate a plan of action, whereas at the minute we do not have enough information.
So sort of turning around in the taxi cab. I imagine we just got a guy not paying attention to us talking about. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just explaining to you about how much of a bullshit judge or referee rather they had in the football game.
All right, we said judge. I was like,
Yeah, I was like,
oh,
you're already pulling out the
oh,
gun,
no,
and they're
boy.
like, oh, football.
You don't
Cool.
mess
Yeah,
with the
I like
judges.
the football.
So, because I sort of like, I forgive me for asking. This is not my area, but if your guild finds out about your ex-partner and you don't destroy her and you let her live, is that going to cause you complications? Is she considered an abomination in your?
Well,
in your
obviously,
teachings?
all deathless are considered abominations.
That's
However,
kind of
as Hassani said, there are different degrees of abomination and different degrees of urgency when it comes to dealing with them. I honestly, having not been in this situation before, do not know how my guild will react, but I need to find out precisely what is going on, and then, however my guild react, I will have to deal with it when they choose to react. That is all I can do.
You told Hassani, but it's unlikely he's going to talk too quickly about it.
Hassani is my guild master. He is one of the Arisen besides yourself that I respect the most. As you saw when we dealt with that other matter, I highly respect his opinion. But as to what I will do, if he were to command me to destroy my wife, I cannot say at the moment, because I do not know. I do not yet know my own feelings on the matter, since I do not have enough information to form an opinion.
I can understand your conflict, but you know that the rules of Arem are quite strict. So, if you do intend to break them, I will not personally enact justice. Well, that would be wrong of me, but it may come from other corners.
I am aware that all actions potentially have a cost to them, and if my actions lead to me having to pay that cost, then I will have to pay it. But that would depend on what action I decide to take, which I cannot decide on until I've actually determined my course. And until I meet my wife, I do not know which way the reed will bend in the wind.
I'm no poet, such as Ibsheda or others in the Orishas. So there's just secret court.
Yeah, Ibsheta is a kind of a poet, I guess.
Yeah, kind of a poet. But I think it's kind of funny that you bear a weapon of destruction such as that axe, but also a mask of love to your previous wife. It's like you have both love and destruction in your heart.
Well, are we not arisen? Are we not creatures of opposition? Do we not never die, and yet die on a regular basis? Do we not descend to the underworld, and yet always return to the world of the living?
Well said. True. Such that we remember anyway.
Indeed.
I hope you get your answers. And P for you either way. My like flap cap, like my kind of baseball type cap, earpiece.
We will see what we will see, and then once we know what is occurring, we can then decide what we want to do next. And obviously, please do not ever hesitate to speak your opinion to me, brother. Even if I do not agree with you or like what you say to me at any time, I will nevertheless respect the motivations behind your words. For I know that even if you speak words to me that are not comfortable to my ear, you speak them because you believe they are just and you believe it is the right thing to do. And I can respect that.
I try to hold us true to our purpose.
Indeed.
can sort of see the building approaching. You're like, here we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, and then you step out of the cab and continue down. It takes a bit to walk.
I'm going to have the death sight on as soon as we step out of the
I
cab.
assumed you would, yeah.
And so
I'm gonna have Glorious the God King ready for any moment.
I walk down Carreras Road as a 5-meter tall golden god.
You need to have that ability left ready to go where you can cancel out people's supernatural abilities in case you get jumped by vampires. You can just be like, no.
I can reflexively do it. It's cool. I can do it even if they get the drop on me.
Nice.
Well, that's when they target you.
Yeah.
If they're trying to hit you with their magic, then you can do it reflexively. So, this would have been evening times.
Yeah.
When the situation escalated to the point where they felt like they can come and talk to you about that. So you're there in the evening, walking down Carreras Road, and you've passed these domiciles, the seemingly abandoned industrial bags of salt, remnants of what might have once been shipping, depot buildings that are now basically just like one half of a wall and then some bits stuck to it, and a lot of trees and bushes that line the road, and the cracked pavement carries you forward, and you think you're reaching the end of this road. When you come to the area which I described previously, there is a rather large, dusty, more or less even field to the left, with shipping containers stacked in various groups on top of each other. Some of these shipping containers here or there look quite a bit rusty. Some of them might be abandoned. You're not exactly sure. But this is a shipping area where they just put the goods here for some time until they can be moved forward. And you can immediately see on your right, it's not right across the street from this, well, the street ends here. So you have the shipping container field on the left. On the right, slightly before the actual road ends, you get what you determine to be a church. It says the Church of New Jerusalem in what was once perhaps a more inviting sign, but it's been faded by the sunlight. It's if you had such a notion, you would maybe call the design on it not contemporary. It's a faded sign proclaiming that this is a church. Very obviously not the sort of Catholic fare that you're used to. It is not. It's basically a house that might have been converted to a congregation's use.
Quick question. What language did we speak when we were in Sarda?
You bought a language from that point in time, and I think you bought Arabic.
Arabic, that's it, yeah.
Arabic, yeah. So that would have been one of the languages, at least. It's situated in an area with a profusion of languages.
Yeah.
So I think Arabic was at least one that they would have known.
So I think, because obviously my wife, and to an extent myself, we were involved in like the sort of religious life of Sarda, as was. What I'm going to do is, I'm not interested in like sneaking in here. I want them to know I'm coming. My plan is, as we're walking up the street, 'cause I'm going to be heading for the church, because I'm guessing that's probably where they are. As we're sort of like walking down the street and we like turn to go to the church, so in Arabic, I'm going to start like, I don't know, singing or like reciting like one of the sort of like the main prayers or sort of dedications that would have been common in Sarda as part of like the religious life. Because then like if there's any like actual like ancient ones around who are like in Sarda, they'll be like, I know that.
So, additionally, next to some distance away, like separated by a copse of trees, growing very naturally just there. There's also this ramshackle small motel, presumably to deal with, because people bring and take out the stuff. So these are the three main sort of landmarks at the end of Careers Road. You've got the shipping field, the containers, you've got the shitty motel on the same side of the road. On the other side of the road, you've got the like worn down, faded church.
Am I like getting any like death energy vibes from like any of them?
That's the next thing. You do notice there's signs of struggle here, which doesn't come as a surprise
Yeah, I
because
thought there might be.
they literally told you that we staged a fight. And you can tell there's some spent bullet casings that you notice as you walk. The motel, I think the front door is just on the ground, missing the knob or the handle. Inside, there's the like sporadic, like fizzing and blinking in and out of maybe like banged up lights.
Yeah.
And the place seems sort of almost eerily quiet in the aftermath of whatever conflict was here. You can see blood. You can see, signs of people having suffered trauma here.
Well, if there's one thing I know about vampires like blood.
Yeah,
so
that they do.
I think what we do is, like, say, I'm reciting this like Sardarite prayer sort of fairly loudly. I think, assuming as we're sort of like equidistant from the three like locations, assuming no one comes out in response to the prayer, I think investigate the hotel first, since there's like blood and signs of the struggle there.
So I think as you start with the hotel, it's a motel really. It's a like 1-story,
Oh right, okay, yeah.
Fair. Yeah, very simple. And
That's good. It'll take less time to search.
Yeah, it's very compact. It's only meant for like you get to sleep here for a bit. Nothing else. So you head in. Whoever the person at the front desk was is no longer present. He's there's a mangled corpse and the remnants of a chair behind the front desk, just savaged to death and gone.
I'm gonna take out like 2 random like coins of like whatever like random currency I've got on me and like my wallet, just like short change.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like stick a coin on each of the eyes of the desk person as I walk past. Probably like whisper a quick sort of like prayer in Aramite under my breath, and then move on. My plan will be that like if we get time, I'll return later and do them like a full send off. But obviously at the minute, pay my respects, but I don't have time to like deal with that.
You go through the motel. It's one of those cases where like there was a lot of fighting in here. The furniture broken or dented at least, glass shattered here and there. Maybe there was a like a vending machine because this is World of Darkness. There's going to be a vending machine advertising an imported energy drink called Demon Seed.
Nice.
And it's also spazzing out. The electricity obviously damaged somehow in it. The electronics, it's blinking like mad.
I'll take a can of energy drink. Why not?
So you fetch a can of this. It's like vivid purple and crimson. It looks like an explosion, but a can, and it's like in a very 80s heavy metal font. It says Demon Seed.
Nice.
On it, and you slide that into the old wizard pocket.
I was like, well, given who we're here to meet, if ever there was an ironically titled drink for this location, I'm thinking maybe it's a sign from fate. So I'm pocketing one of them.
It does have the like jagged upside down pentagram behind the font as well, because of course it does. You find precious few people or remains here, but you find that all the doors to the small motel rooms have been broken. It's a continuous building. There's no separate.
Are there any spirits lingering here?
That's a negative.
Okay.
You
That's
can
interesting.
tell that, of course, there's been a lot of fighting, and you presume, having seen some of the things that at least Borges's Heartless are capable of doing, maybe these people didn't fight with the Heartless, Sarahite or otherwise. Maybe, Heartless was fighting Heartless here, because the devastation is the kind of scale that, like, people don't destroy things like this. Maybe the Lifeless do. So you conclude maybe this was a place where at least some of the fighting went down. Of course, you can't really tell outside too well where the fighting was, but unless you want to roll investigations and whatnot. But you can get this for free. This place was probably wrecked between the fighting of Borges's people and the Sardahites. And you can also tell that there were people here, like customers, as well as the clerk at the front desk. But the front desk person is the only ones whose remains you can locate, even though you can tell there's like blood from other people as well.
See, I'm assuming, because obviously I don't know like the in-depth about the Heartless, but I'm assuming I know about, like, with my superstition stuff, I know about like generico like vampire myths.
Oh yeah, you know about the Bela Lugosi shit.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that, like, they've just taken this place. It's like a foothold in the city as far as they're concerned. Maybe they want like some extra like vampires to like help them hold this place. So maybe that's why we can't find the bodies. Maybe they're turning them or converting them, whatever they do. I don't even know if they can do that, but I know like film
Perhaps
vampires can do it.
They've buried them in the church graveyard to be reborn or something like that.
It's a possibility. So I think we finish searching the motel, then the church is going to be next on our list.
You find out that the church, as mentioned before, it's not really built as a church. It's very clearly this was something else before, and the congregation bought it and put the sign up.
Yeah.
And there's no graveyard associated. It's literally just the house, and you find that it is locked. You see though that one of the windows has been broken from the outside going in, though. So on the front, like the facade, there's 2 windows and a door. One of the windows has been broken in from the outside.
Yeah, I'll just go through the broken window if it's already broken.
Yeah. So you go through the window there. There's some stuff
keep keeping the death sight on, ready for anything jumping out of it.
Yeah. There's some stuff has been overturned here. Someone's ransacked this place, quite clearly, and there you think it was an altar, but it was made of wood, and that was not to its benefit because it has been trashed, and there was probably some kind of altarpiece on the wall behind, which is now sort of ashes in the kindling that this altar has now formed. So someone's basically come in here, gone through the place, took a bunch of this stuff, including the altar and the altarpiece painting, and tossed it into a pile and made a small fire, which you witness now the remnants of. But there's no people inside, heartless or otherwise.
Okay, so we're going to have a quick search over the place, make sure, there's no, like, I don't know, like underground, like cellars or mortuary or anything. I'm not expecting there to be because it's a converted premises.
Give me a just the D10, the old D10.
Okay. 7.
Okay, so you do find there's probably a carpet somewhere, and as you walk over it, you just happen to like step down, and you're like, well, that feels weird, because that's like a very large like stone under the carpet, and then you like just peel the carpet away, and it's a hatch. It's a trapdoor you can open. going
Okay, so
down.
is the trapdoor made of stone?
No, it's wood.
Okay, so I'm just very experimentally not opening it, but I'm just going to go like that to like test the weight of it.
Yeah, no, it's literally the only protection was the carpet on top.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna basically like give Sobek the nod to like be ready. Then I'm gonna move around to the other side of it, so I'm not opening it, so I'm like behind the trapdoor. So like if anything jumps out, I'm not gonna be like straight in its path.
No, you open it, and you don't even need to roll. Sobek, are you there as well? What are you doing?
I was following him quietly,
Right.
trying to cover him best because I'm letting him take charge. This is his ex-marital situation. I don't want to create a problem by just nailing these deathless, heartless.
So you open the trapdoor. It just, if you were concerned about stealth at all, it would make you cringe as it's like like a cat. And you can hear as a result of that noise from down the trapdoor. There's like
Okay, so using my ability to see in darkness, I'm gonna peer down into the trapdoor, see if I can see who's like going.
there's what would be to our modern eyes like someone's grandpa. There's a guy with absolutely no hair, some whitish whiskers on his face, remnants of his facial hair. Looks very old indeed. Wearing sort of like quite. He's got like slacks on. He's got a collar shirt with a little vest on top. He's dressed kind of nice-ish, quite conservatively, and he's standing in this small space, which it must have been maybe like a storage for. Well, it might have been a storage space for either drink, so like wines,
Okay.
or other foodstuffs. It's not very large at all, and he's there, standing up because the space is not that big. There's some detritus of perhaps like the previous like storage stuff. There's some shelves which take up space, but you can see hiding behind his legs are a couple children, and he's sort of stood up, clearly mortified now that you found his hiding place, and he's sort of like trying to embiggen himself so that you couldn't see the children hiding behind his legs, and he's reaching into his vest to
I'm
bring
just
up
I'm just gonna hold a hand
something.
up and I'll say you have nothing to fear from us.
He brings up what looks like some kind of metallic cross, and it is a metallic cross, but you can't tell what the metal is because your sight doesn't tell you that because it's dark. And he's holding it up, and he's just staring at you with absolute defiance and terror, and he's standing there trying to like, this is my last stand, and I will summon the Lord to protect me. He doesn't say anything. He just stands there, points the cross at you, and stares.
But basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put
We are
my
not your
hand
enemy.
on the cross, not like I'm grabbing it, just like very gently, and I'm just gonna very gently sort of like lower it, and I'll just again in like quite a soft tone, I'll just say, as my brother said, we are not your enemies. You have nothing to fear from us.
I presume you speak in Portuguese.
Yes.
Yeah. So he says, There's no one with sin here. Please look elsewhere, demon. And he's sort of like retrieving the cross, and he's sort of like keeping it to himself now. And
I'm just gonna. I think at this point I'm gonna take off my mask, so I
Finally.
clip it to my belt, and I'm just gonna smile at him and say, "We are no demons. If you will allow us, and I'm gonna sort of look at Sobek, giving him the nod, like, hopefully this is all right with you. I'm saying, if you will allow us, my brother will take you away from here to a place of safety."
we're right here with the Lord. We're in his house. We are safe. please go.
If you do not wish yourself to be taken to a place of safety, I implore you, please think of the lives of those children that you are trying so ineffectually to hide from me.
If my brother wishes that no harm will come to you, I will make sure that you leave this place intact.
Okay, if one of you wants to try and convince this guy,
I will.
Go on, Sobek. I'm tagging you in.
I will use my trademark sinister smile with a little teeth shine. Ding.
Yeah, Sobek's like, you can trust us.
So is this charisma or composure? Which one?
Yeah, let's look at the stats of this game.
I think it might be presence. It's definitely persuasion. But,
yeah, that is also determined by what you are doing. So, let's see.
I'm not being threatening to him.
So this would be manipulation. And then either subterfuge if you're lying to him, or...
No, I will be honest. I will take him from this place and I will ensure his safety.
Yeah, so then persuasion probably.
Okay. Any kind of minus or anything like that, then?
Nah.
Okay.
Successes. Okay. Well, I think it's probably your assurance that this really now we're gonna go to a safe place, and you need to think of the children.
Yeah.
He relents. He's clearly quite gripped by the situation, but the one sort of thread of clarity is that, I need to get these people to safety now. And if these extremely strange and threatening weirdos are actually not here to hurt us, maybe we can get away.
How many of them are here then?
There's two kids and the grandpa,
okay.
who the grandpa has apparently secreted here from whatever has happened.
So I'm just very softly to Sobek saying, Sobek, can you please take them somewhere safe outside of this area? I'll continue the investigation whilst you're gone.
Okay.
And we can meet up when you return.
Told you that mask would cause you problems. Right, I'm gonna. I shall take these people out. Well, I want to.
I shall take these people out.
Sobek, go give it to you.
So you how far do you take them from here?
So first, I'm gonna give my cult a ring on one of these mobile phone magic boxes.
Mm-hmm. These relics, these modern relics.
I'm gonna get them to bring basically a car, a few people. And I'll sort of say quietly to be like, try and dress ceremonially, dress like you're members of the church type thing, kind of thing. Like, don't come like dressed up like you're gonna shoot up a neighborhood.
Yeah, don't do what I do.
Don't do what I do. So I put me these, get like a people carrier van, and yeah, I'll wait for them to arrive, and I'll bring them outside the church. I'll put them in, and I'll tell them to take them to a hotel.
So how far from the church do you take them?
A couple of blocks.
To wait for the car.
A couple of blocks.
Okay.
Well, I'll ring them first before I leave the church.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you order before you take the pizza.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you do that. That's enough for us to know where you are at approximately. So Khufu, you continue. What is your next step?
Okay, so I'll finish searching the church. Assuming I find nothing else noteworthy, we've checked the motel, we've checked the church, that just leaves the dusty field. So I'm going to replace my mask and I'm going to head to the dusty field.
Right. So as you walk, you start hearing voices. There's, as I said before, there's the shipping containers in piles around. It makes for somewhat of a maze. But you do narrow down where the voices are coming from. And you note that a couple of the, a number really of the shipping containers have been moved as they've dragged across the ground it's quite easy to tell because of the nature of the ground, which is the dry dust. And they form a bit of a, border. It's not a perfect thing at all, but it's semi, circular in nature, the way that they've sort of moved these. You can tell that this like makeshift ring of shipping containers through which you can pass easily, not only because of your magic, but also like it's not a perfect, you can walk around. You can tell that the voices are coming from inside this impromptu circle the wagons formation of shipping containers, like the middle of the ring.
Yeah, I'm just going to walk through.
Okay. You
Obviously,
walk into
that site on full alert.
Yeah, that side picks up things.
Yeah, I thought
Let me tell you about them. So there are, that you can tell, 4 Heartless of some description. Presumably, no one here would be Borges's people, unless they're gonna set you up and try and take you out here. So there's 4 Heartless that you can see. There is a quite deep pit that you can see in the middle of this weird construction, which has been dug into the middle of this ring of shipping containers. And in the pit, you can already smell it. There's dead people. And you can see on the sides of the ring, the pit, there's just mutilated corpses and viscera, blood spread around. The diameter is probably something like 10 meters, so it's quite substantial indeed. They've decorated it with the corpses of people. And they seem to be discussing amongst themselves about what to do about a 5th Heartless, who is currently on his knees, tied to what seems to be a telephone pole that has obviously been brought in from somewhere else and then hit into the ground as a makeshift, exactly what it is, a pole. So they've taken a telephone pole, it's just like slammed it into the ground to serve as a fixture point. This 5th Heartless is shackled to this with chains and is not in a great way, doesn't look to be doing well. Let me see if I have the picture here.
That's fine. Besides my agreement with Aristides Borgest, who I assume this is one of his lot, didn't say I had to rescue them. He said I shouldn't interfere with them.
Okay, so we've got this person is all chained up to this broken bit of telephone pole, and they're discussing amongst themselves what to do with this 4th lifeless, and they're doing it in Greek.
That's fine, I speak Greek.
Yeah, you do. You speak a little bit of an older variant, but you can still pick up on their parlance. But it sounds like they're speaking some kind of a youth version of the language.
So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take like a couple of steps out of the shadows, and in my like older man Greek, I'm just going to say, in a very calm voice, again, I'm fully masked up and wizarded up. I'm just going to say, and what is it you are hoping to accomplish?
So these faces snap towards you. They look bad. It's quite clear what they've been doing here, and they look like they've been doing that work. So splattered in gore, viscera, blood, head to toe.
It's all fine. If it does go pear-shaped, they've just effectively put me next to a pit of dead bodies. That's fine by me.
Yeah, it's one of them. As soon as you talk, just like snaps towards you, and you watch in real time as the face elongates. There's no sound as such, but the face elongates to quite the distance, somewhere like here, and it's a flat, long jaw with pointed teeth the whole way through. Basically, there's a crocodile jaw now extending from one of these lifeless, and just lets out this like low like bass, and the three other ones turn to look at you. They like one of them goes for like a machete, which is also dripping in viscera.
It's fine.
And they turn to look at you, and one of the ones that didn't pull a weapon or a jaw says in Greek, "Who are you?"
My name is Khufu of Sarda.
I think at this, the crocodile-faced one growls menacingly at you. You think at the mention of Sarda, probably.
That's fine. I'm nonplussed. I'm like, yeah, I've talked to crocodile guys. You ain't no thing.
Yeah, this is literally a dead corpse.
Yeah,
looking like a
I'm
crocodile.
like, you've turned your face into a crocodile, so like I'm at Magic Forest. Like, check yourself.
The one who speaks says, "You tread upon our ground, Khufu of Sarda. You have very little time before the embrace of the Devourer takes you. What are your last words?" And he smiles in a very like self-satisfied way as he's looking at you. It's like, I'm gonna enjoy taking you apart.
I'm going to say, well, given that I'm immortal and impossible to kill permanently, I wonder what I'd say. Perhaps I'd say, where the fuck is my wife? Talea. Or the Demon Queen, as I believe she's now.
As you speak these words, bizarrely enough, from the mouth of the crocodile-faced one comes this like growl voice that just says, "Blasphemy," and like takes a couple steps forward. The one who speaks puts a hand.
I was going to say, I'm also going to put a hand up, and I'm just going to say, it's not blasphemy when I'm older than your gods.
The crocodile-faced one just like, well, it's not really a shriek because the pitch is so low, but there's a sort of like just scream that, you know, crocodiles don't necessarily do, but this thing is not a crocodile. So there's this like human crocodile mix scream that comes from this as the other one just like pushes it back further. It says, "You take the name of the queen, Khufu. Why?"
Well, because back when Sarda was an actual place, I was, and as far as I'm concerned, still am, married to your queen.
At this, it's just the crocodile one is just like, whoosh, it's a tiger leap at you. And he's gonna take a swing at you.
That's fine. As I see him leaping, I'm going to activate my stone armor.
Yep. Okay, where are we? So as there's it's a whole sequence of and you can tell that the crocodile face one is tensing up and is about to jump. You use your utterance to conjure the dust, of which there is plenty, and you start doing that. The crocodile one is tensing up to leap, and the fifth, lifeless, bound to the telephone pole piece, is like seeming to like come to, like something's happening now that he didn't necessarily expect, and is like, ah, Khufu, watch out!
Cheers, mate.
as the crocodile thing is like, ah. Okay, so it's gonna take a swipe as soon as I find my stats here. Okay, here we go. Okay. Let's see how he do. Okay, so that's how much is your stone armor?
Okay, my stone armor gives me an armor rating of 3/4.
3/4. Okay, so it is quite good. However, there's 1 point of lethal that comes through, actually.
That's fine.
So what happened was you got 4, but your stone armor ate 3 of that. So you got 1 lethal from the fact that as the dust climbs up your body and forms into segmented like stone pieces on your form, maybe you block the crocodile-headed one with an arm, and one of the crocodile teeth pierces through the stone as it was forming, and actually gets into your sapu. It hurts, but it's lethal. So it's not the agony of aggravated damage.
That's fine.
So,
with him sort of
now
on my arm, I'm basically going to sort of like bring not actually hit him, but I'm going to bring the lion's jaw like right up under his throat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look past him to like
Yeah.
the one who actually seems to have like some common sense, and I'm just going to say, can we continue our conversation, or do I need to behead this person before we can talk? And I'm hoping the fact that I'm not like a giant stone man with like a lion's jaw axe, just having like him bit on my arm, I'm like, it ain't no thing. I'm hoping that'll at least give them pause to think, maybe we should talk, rather than just like rumbling with this guy who's just like shrugged this off.
So he he walks to the telephone pole, fetches what you can only describe as a ritual dagger of, long blade, and similarly puts the dagger basically it like presses into the cheek of this fifth lifeless, tied to the pole, and says, Khufu, we seem to have reached a bargaining position.
I'm going to say to him, not really, given that you're not holding anything or anyone I have place any value in.
This one talks of Khufu with great reverence. We think you have something.
I have an agreement with his kind that I will not interfere with them. That is all. The pact that I made with their leader does not involve me saving them. Does not involve me helping them. It involves me not interfering with them. And that is the extent of our agreement. If you are to gut him now, I need not interfere.
Okay, so what happens then is he lowers the ritual dagger to like the collarbone here, just like slaps it in to like 10 centimeters or so. The lifeless shrieks on the telephone pole.
I'm not going to react.
And he just like presses it down. You hear, because you know what's happening. You can also imagine it, but you do actually hear the the cartilage on his rib cage, just like
In my mind, I'm going to be like, oh no, you're killing a Heartless. Oh no.
it's just like incredibly high shrieking from the Heartless being stabbed.
As he's sort of being stabbed, I'm going to sort of look in his direction, and I'm going to say, "What is your name, Heartless? I will mention to your master that you died bravely."
So the Sarahide vampire pauses as you start speaking because he thinks maybe you're talking to him. So he pauses with the thing, and the fifth lifeless misses a bunch of what you say because he's coming down from this like, oh god, I'm gonna die. It hurts so much. But the you just like, what is your name? Comes to a little bit from the damage being dealt to it, and it's just, Kufwai. We've been through so much. Don't leave me now.
I'm assuming I don't recognise this person.
No, you have no idea who this man is.
I'm going to say you have me at a disadvantage. I don't know who you are. I presume I can see with my death sight that he's blatantly heartless.
Oh yeah, he is indeed lifeless.
I'm going to say beyond the fact that you are heartless, I have no memory of you.
You also pick up something else now that you spend a little bit more time on him and not these people trying to bite you. You think maybe he's a composite somehow. Either there's two people there or there's a composite of two people mating to one here.
Oh, don't tell me it's the pirate ghost.
You don't know who these people are, but you think maybe it's a combination of body and spirit, or body with spirit with an additional spirit in it. You think the first is more likely. So
I'm going to say to him, if you believe I know you, I would advise that you tell me how, very quickly, and then perhaps I can bargain with this gentleman. For of the moment, I do not know you.
So the Sarnite pushes the dagger back in, and the shrieking returns, takes it back out quite quick, and is like, "You heard, Khufu. Let us know." And is whoever this person is clearly being quite overwhelmed with the massive damage being inflicted to the body, and is like, we used to sail together a long time ago. Khufu, I think I'm dying again.
I'm assuming that doesn't ring any bells. He's having trouble
hanging on to like a coherent thought, clearly.
I'm assuming that doesn't ring any bells.
The only person you think maybe you sailed with was the captain.
Okay.
This is not the captain's original body. You remember what that looks like.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't had a body for a while.
So I'm going to say, are you? And then I'll reel off the captain's name.
Yeah. So Captain Aguiar is his name. And you think the corpse is nodding, but it's hard to tell if it's twitching from the absolute horrendous damage being inflicted or not.
At which point I'm going to laugh as he's like, yeah, I'm the pirate ghost. I'm struggling about to help myself. I'm just going to laugh. And then I'm going to say, oh, yes, I do know you, Captain Aguiar. Apologies, I did not recognise your current body. And then I'm going to say to the Sardarite who's like got the knife, then I'll say, very well, it appears you do have something I potentially want.
You can see, like, the satisfaction is just this whoever this person is, they're kind of like you can't help but think of the way that you conduct things, because it's very apparent on his face that...
Quick question.
I like this.
Obviously, I can... Now I sort of know it, and I know I can see ghosts inside bodies. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, looking at it, I'm like, is this doing any damage to the actual ghost, or is it just wrecking the body? Because if it's just damaging the body, I'm like...
Probably what's going... Because if this is Aguiar, or whoever this person is, clearly, if they are a ghost... they are currently suffering extreme duress as a result of being in this corpse, though. So, but you don't think that the knife is like stabbing the soul. The knife is stabbing the body, but that is causing this spirit like just huge amount of agony right now.
Okay,
But
so
the soul is intact.
so looking at him, I'm just going to say Aguiar. Just and I'm saying Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
I know he understands Portuguese. I'm going to say Aguiar just to leave the body and return to the tomb. I can find you another one.
So the Sarahide starts putting the dagger back to the chest, and then Aguirre is just trying to like inch away from it. It's like, I made a deal with Borges, can't leave. And then as Aguirre says that, the Sarahide just like rams the dagger back in, and the shrieking resumes as the satisfaction. I need to highlight it how much this Sarahide enjoys this situation, because whoever this is just told like, oh, I can't exit like I used to. So
at which point I'm going to try and use my necromantic arts to like physically command him to leave the body, because then I'll know whether he literally can't or whether he's just not willing to because of his deal. Because once he's left, I'll be like, well, your deal's been broken. It wasn't your fault. Get your ass back to the tomb.
So I think your armor thing was tier 2, so you would have used 2 points on that of the appropriate kind.
Yes.
Is the command is tier 2 as well, isn't it? Yeah. So 2 points on that as well.
Yep.
So you command with your utterance. You command the spirit.
Yeah, and it basically leave the body and return to the tomb.
Yes. Leave this body, this lifeless husk that you now inhabit, apparently. And you can see that it's a bizarre thing. You've never seen this before, because you cannot command living souls to leave bodies. This soul is trying to like detach itself from this lifeless body, and it cannot do that. It's trying to, but of its own volition, it cannot do that.
I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. And the Sarahide just looks between you two, puts the dagger back in, slices off a little bit more flesh.
Very well then. If we're to bargain, might I at least know the name of the person I'm bargaining with? And for the duration of this bargaining, could you please ask your fellow to detach himself from my arm?
Just chewing on your arm, hanging on there. Okay, so. So. He says, I am called Marcos. And he yells in Greek for this crocodile-headed one to detach itself from you, which it does. It remains like basically standing in your face, like mad dogging you with its crocodile face, but it needs to be quite far away because the maw is quite big.
Yeah.
But it's like basically staring you in the eyes. It's like, do you want to throw down, Stone Man?
I'm just like staring back at it because I'm like, the adults are talking now. And I'm pretty much blanking him. I'm just talking to Marcos. And I'm going to say, very well, if you wish to bargain, what do you propose?
You tread on consecrated ground. You blaspheme. You insult us.
If you don't, my apologies for interrupting. In what way have I insulted you? For I've spoken only the truth since I arrived here.
You can see him considering, and then reconsidering, and just returning back to... Never mind that. What you need to know is this ground you despoil with your feeble magic is consecrated now. You will need to leave with your presence, as it is an affront, and not tread on consecrated ground again. In exchange, I propose you will get most of your friend back.
It's an interesting proposal. I would like to think if I had met the people who created my species, I would be a little more polite. However, I appreciate the fact that the times I was born in are far removed from this. My sole aim in coming here is I wish to secure an audience with your queen. If
he laughs at that. Marcos does.
That's fine.
Whoever you think you are, Khufu, you are gravely mistaken of your position in this life. I think if this wasn't such an interesting conversation, I would invite you to jump into the holy pit yourself right now.
I think at this point I'm going to dramatically have some like undead people climb out of the pit, because it's starting to get on my nerves a bit now.
So you're doing what exactly? You're using your
It'll be
thing?
Hold on, let me just check which one it is. I think it's Words of Dead Fury. I might be wrong. Oh, Awaken the Dead. Is it Awaken the Dead?
It sounds like it.
Mostly intact human corpse to rise. Yeah. So it's a tier 2 again.
Okay, so you you use an utterance and you cause one of the bodies that they didn't completely destroy, which is I think it's a woman missing one leg that crawls out of the pit. It's just it's got lacerations, the corpse does, but it's not completely dismantled. And I think that's probably it for
That's
them. Fine. And so what happens is Marcos goes to work with the dagger on the fifth lifeless, also known as Captain Aguiar, and the rest just jump at you. Probably to do with something that they were talking about. You're fucking with their ritual site, so they as they notice that you're doing your own here and it's working, they're gonna give you the old jump. Now to bring in Sobek, I think this is probably a good time as any to not have you on the sidelines for too much. You're free to come back in. It's like, Khufu, what's going on? So yeah, if you would like to enter, you're free to do so.
So I imagine, cause it's like underground, isn't it?
Well, no, it's dusty field. There's a shitty ring made from shipping containers being pulled into a ring formation.
Okay, yeah.
In the middle is a 10-meter diameter pit.
So I guess they hear me coming before they see me. They hear the footsteps.
They're not really concerned with you and your footsteps.
They're all busy leaping at me. I'm hoping you're gonna like get that AK good special off your shoulder and like met with a brap brap.
Mm-hmm. Brap brap brap. I'll just kind of come around the corner and be take the scene. And so there's a guy with a crocodile mouth, if I recall.
Yeah. That's the one.
There's him and 3 others like leaping at me, and there's one like stabbing this other one who's tied to a pole, and then there's like the zombie crawling out of the pit, which I'm going to obviously descend.
They're actually attacking you right now.
Yeah, there's 4 of them leaping at me.
Yep.
Right. Okay. Well, that's
Sorry, 3 of them leaping at me. One's.
Yeah.
That's a little cheeky, isn't it?
Yeah. 3, including the crocodile-headed one.
I mean, he's taking your name in vain, Sobek, to be fair. There's only room for one crocodile god in his house, and it's not him.
This river ain't too large.
I could use,
enough.
blessed is the God King. However,
Do
in
it.
our discussion previously, you need to talk to these people.
I think you'll probably see that the time for talking's obviously passed, as I'm like being attacked by them rapidly. That would seem to suggest negotiations have not gone as planned.
Deteriorated, to say the least.
Kiss of Apep, that's the
That's
the
curse
death
one.
curse. Oh, best believe if they like take me down here, one of them's getting a death curse.
Well, can I fuck him up?
Of course, as we did, which I didn't mention before we started dealing damage, but not going to engage with the whole system. Like we can do
fine.
it like simply.
I'm tempted to suggest that you should just like use your power to like cancel the crocodile man's crocodile face, just to like see his actual face, like when he like
push it back in.
yeah, nah, mate, no.
Can I actually do that though? Because it might not. No, the pass.
Third level, third tier.
It's a third tier situation.
Think about it, I'm not saying you have to do that. It just made me laugh. But
Yeah, that'd be funny as shit.
you like breaking out the assault rifle and just like dropping to them with headshots would be fine by me.
Yeah, I think I'll go for the shooting first if they're attacking my brother.
Yeah. So
If
you got.
if they look like they actually could do some real damage, then they're in a bit of a. Then they're going to be in trouble.
How would you gauge that?
If it looks like Kufu actually appears to be in legitimate danger.
Well, you see my arm's already injured.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
a little bit of.
there's a crack on the stone armor where the crocodile man bit through.
Oh boy. I don't even know if bullets would hurt these things.
I tell you what, not firing bullets at them won't hurt them.
I will fire. I will fire at the crocodile face.
Okay. Give us a firearms dexterity thing, I think.
Dexterity yet. Do I get any bonuses for being a boss?
Do I get any bonuses for having attitude? For my swaggering
It
walk.
wasn't a definite no. Ooh. So we're gonna give it
3
to you.
successes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
boy.
think you blow away Crocodile Man. So as it's like opening the jaw, the massive jaw for another chomp at Khufu here, what do? What happens as you give him the brap
I
rap?
kind of come around the corner, see that they're jumping at him, and the thing's crocodile thing. Like he opens his mouth obviously to like to me. I just sort of lift up in an easy kind of raise, narrow my gorgeous Greek-looking eyes, and just. Yeah.
I like how your description was more about you than the target.
I like to think you lower the gun and you're like,
I look good.
It's like,
make this shit look
look at the gleaming metal of my gun and say, "Damn, I look good."
Just as fate would have had, but I came out at just the right angle for a clear, perfect shot.
Yeah. So, Khufu, there's the sound of rapid fire behind you somewhere, and Crocodile Man gets blown off from his approach axis and falls.
okay,
down.
so as Crocodile Man's leaping over, his sort of shadow falling over me, I want to use my free use of my shadow step by steps unseen I get. And my plan is sort of like, as the Crocodile Man falls down, missing his head, I will no longer be there, having stepped into his shadow, and I'm literally going to step out of a shadow behind the other two Heartless. I'm going to go for one with the lion's jaw, and I'm going to like get the zombie to like try and like, even if it can't kill, like at least hold up the other one.
Oh yeah, that's kind of their thing as well. Like they're very tenacious.
Yeah, I'm just going to be like, yeah, zombie attack that one, and I'm just going to step out right from behind the other one, hoping to get some sort of surprise bonus and be like,
Yeah, no, that's good because they didn't know you could do this.
I give you petty magic,
They
son.
do now.
Yeah. So do your thing there. I think probably strength and then your weaponry,
Indeed.
Melee, whatever it's called. and
Yeah, just weaponry.
you can have your extra for basically just impromptu backstabs.
Sorry, I can have what? Sorry.
Your extra die for that,
All right, okay, cool.
because you are.
Oh
You're
no,
basically
I
doing
don't need to
disappear.
add my second to this roll. Also, that was still selected from last time.
Mm.
I was obviously so thrilled with actually being able to roll second, I just left it on that.
Yeah.
That's only one
Right, so-
success.
Yeah, but we're gonna do this like on the quick here. So you smack this. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So
Lion's
well-
Jaw going to give it to you.
yeah, so I'm thinking we're gonna, because we need to, be conscious of time here, and we need to eventually get through this. And I think this is gonna be some good fodder for the future. So you tag one of them, the Sardahites who came at you, with the lion's jaw, rake across the back, with ripping the lifeless flesh, which, as you watch, begins to reseal, which you suspected as much. Like, this isn't,
Yeah.
but still, like, that gives you the idea of, well, these things probably tenacious as well. It's not zombies. It's probably worse. Or the awakened corpse thralls, as you call them. So you rake the thing across the back of one of these, and it like shrieks in pain as you axe it in the back, and as a result of that, it goes, and its turn is to basically bolt like away from the whole field into the forest.
That's fine as long as I don't stab anyone else with this. I can trap that bad boy.
Quicker than you can see. This is clearly some of the same stuff that Borges' people were doing. He's just like, poof, and he's gone. You can see that he went that away. But
How's the zombie faring?
so the zombie is. Let's give it the. I want to look this up because I want to actually give the credit where credit is due for the zombie. So, Strength of the Grave applies bonus dots. Okay, so this is, I think, equivalent to a kind of a parking lot. So we're gonna give this zombie a roll here. Oh, good. Zombie gets 2 successes. This, actually, yeah, because the corpse was missing a leg. So what it has done is it's swept the legs from underneath this third
Nice.
attacker, and it's currently wrestling it down. It's currently actually like pushing the thing down to the dirt.
This zombie might have a future as a tomb god.
So it's just it's cricking, and you actually see as this wrestling match is being lost by the Heartless, the face elongates into a crocodile jaw, and you think
As it's doing
the
that,
zombie might not be long for this world.
as it's doing that, I literally want to walk over while it's still wrestling on the ground,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to do a big stone foot like stomp onto its head.
Yeah, give me a. Well, I'm gonna roll for the Heartless here, trying to see if it can do anything because it's being held in place, and that's a bad time. Let's see. What do we do? What do we do? We're gonna give it like that, and then. No. Okay. So what happens is, you squish the Heartless. You're not sure if it died. Well, actually, you are because you have Death Sight.
Yeah.
It didn't die, but it is not doing anything. If it's doing anything, it's regenerating, but it ceases movement as you squish it.
I'm going to give the zombie the nod to basically like, take it to pieces.
Yeah. So it starts on that arduous task. We have one left, which is Marcos and Aguiar. So Marcos, let's see what he has been able to do. What are you doing, Marcos? Okay, so you can tell with your death sight that because he has just been going nuts with his ritual knife
Yep.
on this unnamed lifeless. If this is Captain Aguiar, or whoever this person is, they're this close to transferring over to the Twilight from death, because Marcus is just going through the flesh. And
That's fine. If he goes into Twilight, I can summon him back. I know where his anchor is.
Yeah. And as you think that is like, I win either way. Like,
yeah. To be honest, I'd have let him kill him, but then they start getting all up in my grill, being like, "How dare you say you're married to the Demon Queen?" I was like, "Well, I am."
So, what Marcus is doing is clearly extremely painful, as established, because basically this is being dismantled, like the torso. So, Aguiar is having a bad time, and the thing that you pick up eventually, though, is that in the midst of this screaming, Marcus is saying something, and you pick it up. And we can be in, like combat can be over, like timey-wimey, whatever. We're not in combat rounds. So Marcus is laying down some kind of liturgy in Greek. It takes you some words to start picking up. Oh, that's Greek. Oh, that's some kind of invocation, perhaps. And the next bit you think is, oh, yeah, it's an invocation, sure. And it doesn't sound great for the intended purpose here, which is clearly something to do with torturing Aguiar. And there is in fact a feeling of foreboding in the circle as this is happening.
I'm just going to look across to where my brother is and just be like, and hope he'll pick up on my subtle signal, like, shoot for the head.
I will happily engage my, superhuman shooty skills.
Because now I know apparently, like, destroying the heads doesn't kill them, so we can shoot him in the head, and then I can interrogate him later when I've cut his arms and legs off.
So, have a go, Sobek.
I shall. Gonna give it to you.
Spell more bow.
No.
He's too fast even for an arisen.
So you get the Khufu signal. It's like, take the shot, and you fire. And it's not that you don't hit; it's that Marcus doesn't care. So the bullet goes in, and it falls out with some blood, and the skin seals back, and Marcus triumphantly raises up his arms.
I think as you raise
I'll get to you, Khufu.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. So as like he gets shot, he triumphantly raises up his arms and then brings down the ritual dagger. His back is toward you, so you don't exactly see what happened there. And then he like collapses in front of the tied up, tortured, absolutely destroyed body of Captain Aguiar.
To my death side, is Marcus like gone?
He is gone. Yes, he no longer exists as a lifeless to your side now.
Okay.
And you can still tell, of course, Aguiar is right on the doorstep of being destroyed.
Okay, so I'm going to walk over to Aguiar. Does it look like he can still talk at all?
You think yes, because as a lifeless, he shouldn't need his lungs to do all the talking. And of course, well, he's maybe.
So I'm just going to look down at him and I'm going to say, Aguiar, what do you need to heal?
There's just a whisper, because he's kind of barely hanging on, like the soul is barely hanging on to the corpse. There's just a whisper of blood and hearts. And then like a pink frothy like spew of blood from his mouth.
Does it need to be living blood, or will that in the pit suffice? I'm just going to look at Sobek. I'm just going to say, wait here for a few moments, keep an eye on him. And my plan is
Can I
to
go
be,
fetch someone?
I shall
yeah,
do so.
my plan is to just go and fetch someone,
Yep.
incapacitate them in the most painless manner I can think of. Obviously, I'll de-armor as I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Incapacitate them in the most painless manner possible, then drag them back.
Yeah, it could be. It could be the vendor coming to restock the vending machine in the motel. Just like
I think
there's-
what I'll probably try and do is, because I don't want to kill someone who's like a nice person, I'll
Yeah.
probably see like if I can find some like skeezy like fucking side street like drug dealer or something like that.
yeah.
Someone
Pusher.
like, so someone like just selling like street level drugs on a corner, and I'll just go over and I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to buy. Have you got any stuff? I want to buy some of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna pay with this. You get the 5. So yeah, you can definitely fetch someone shady for this purpose. We don't need to deal with all that.
And I'll
Slabek,
drag 'em back.
meanwhile, as Kufu is like taking his black bag out and looking for a target, Sabek, something's very wrong here, and it's gotten worse since Marcos did whatever killed him. And you think you can hear something from the pit. It's still a pit dug into a dusty field filled with like destroyed human bodies and scattered viscera and drained blood. But you think you can hear voices whispering from the pit, and it's not people voices.
Oh boy.
This place feels violating, actively
Wait.
violating somehow.
I am
This
Mr.
place has been
Nullifier.
violated, and
I'm Mr.
also it feels violating to you.
I'm Mr. Nullifier, right? So can I, if this is a magical effect he's just created, can I end it? Can I stop whatever's happening?
Let's read your thing there. Your thing is very powerful indeed.
I'm so gonna laugh. He's done some magic ritual and stuff. It's just like, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah, that is the fate of mortal magicians, though. Like that's how it goes. Because you guys have the good stuff.
I've got the higher magic. Do not talk to me
Yeah.
about the old
No.
magic. I was there when it was
Mhm.
written.
Yeah, I literally did the writing, dude. So
Untitled
unleashing
Chapter
this
6.
Unleashing this tier upon a target within reveals all magic that temporarily enchants. Someone is indefinite enchantments generally count as temporary for this purpose, provided they could theoretically be terminated somewhere. Having beheld the target's magic, the arisen scours one such effect from it that isn't natural to its existence. For example, okay, well, a pit doesn't have magic by nature, so that's fine. So, are you using this? Is the question.
It's not inherent, is it? But yeah, I'll attempt to.
Yeah.
I'll attempt to.
Like
flick
a
onto
pit
it.
is just a pit. Like this is clearly something's been done to this place. So if you're using this, you can spend your pillars, and we'll get on with it.
Okay.
So
It's one, isn't it? Of each. One red and one for something else.
yeah.
Yeah. Spent.
So the magic unravels to your utterance, and you can pick one thing. This place is it's some kind of conduit. The conduit is not the proper word for it, but that describes it for our purpose here.
Like a gateway.
So this is kind of a door, kind of a gateway that opens in both directions.
There are many types of door.
And you can choose one of these because they are separate functions here. By its existence, this thing leeches or will leech quite a lot from the surroundings. You're not quite sure how far this thing goes or the level of it, but you can tell that this thing will cause sort of on the cosmic level absolute entropy over time.
Well, that's bad.
The other thing is the whispers from the outside coming to this side. You could fire this off twice and be done with it if you wanted to. That's not an issue for you because if you have the pillars for it, you
I'm
could
fully juiced.
you could speak this thing to a close if you wanted to.
So I'm
But
still
there's-
able to see. I'm looking at this guy.
Basically, do you want this like entropic gateway to be like sucking the life force
gonna
out
deal
of
with
everything,
that in a
or do you want
second,
it to be
but-
summoning like Cthulhu?
I'm gonna deal with it. But the guy who created this thing is right in front of me, right?
the guy who created this is dead now. He does
Yeah,
not
he like burnt himself up doing the summoning.
Oh, I thought.
Yeah.
Sorry, I misunderstood that. I actually
Yeah.
thought he like you'd got him.
No, you shot him in the head. He didn't care, and then he brought the ritual dagger on himself and died.
So I'm
Which-
guarding the other guy.
Yeah, now Captain Aguiar presumably is in an absolutely eviscerated, heartless body. Apparently, who is still alive, quote unquote. But everyone else
So-
is dead.
So I guess I'm gonna say it to myself. I was gonna go on an epic speech at this bad guy, being like, "I think not." Never mind.
But there's no one else.
There's
So,
no one
well,
around to say.
you can tell Aguiar how awesome you are.
He knows. He already knows. He knew that when he was alive. So I'm just gonna say to myself, there'll be no more abominations this day. And first, I will close the entropic thing. I'll just
Uh-huh.
kind of wave my hand across the expanse,
Mm-hmm.
and the speak the true word of a rem.
The utterance, you only realize it now that it was more dim here, but now that you speak the utterance and you undo whatever this that is coming that is being pulled in, the effect is gone. You realize that it's like the starlight is
Mhm.
with us once more, even though there's light pollution, but now you can see the light pollution as well. You didn't realize how dark it had got.
Yeah. And then I'll do it a second time.
To close the door from the other side. And the whispers from this pit of
What language are the whispers? Can I understand the
no,
whispers?
you don't know what that was, but it's not people voices.
Oh well.
It's not the language of Irem or any language you know.
I will say the whisper.
I'm gonna write them down.
I'm gonna say the law of Arem stands. Your entry is barred. I'll just close that.
You shall not pass.
Pass.
Yeah.
I'll spend my addition. It's totally
Yeah.
worth it. Totally worth
Yeah.
it.
I mean, it sounds like it's worth it, to be sure. So
I might do it a third time. Just get rid of the ghost. Fuck you too, mate. Let's get out.
yeah, you just
I don't think I can
Are-
destroy a spirit.
Are
like
you?
that.
Well, there's something going on there that's more than just the ghosts, because you can't undo ghosts because they are by nature ghosts.
Yeah.
But and Khufu didn't explain this to you, but
But I
Khufu knows
can
that
look
there's
at
something
him.
going
I
on.
can while it's active. I can look at him and.
No, this is you target something, and then it
Yeah.
gives you the info.
Right. Okay.
So if you want to fire it off at the remaining
I could use
Heartless.
my enlightened senses on him.
God side,
Gods. Enlightened senses, I think, is the one I'm thinking of.
good
which is like
hearing.
one that gives me the.
God side gives you impressions of things that are true.
Yeah, that's the one you have to. Yeah, the -3, the -5 penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fire off the god sight. Why not?
Okay, so it's a -1 thing. So roll the roll that is necessary.
-1. Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
Wait.
Turns out when you're not talking about true name curses, it's a little bit more simple.
What is it academics and something? Wits and occult.
Yeah.
I should know that by now. Apologies.
No problem. I got it wrong for like 24 episodes, so no problem there.
Not politics. I like a Khufu's just wandered off and has not seen me be a badass.
It's your fate.
It's, yeah.
Okay.
To be
You
fair,
can
I'm
tell
in no
that-
doubt that you're a badass.
You can tell because of the impressions as you watch this Heartless as a god
Like a
You
slowly turning lighthouse on him.
you can tell that. Well, the impressions that you get is a sort of twice hollowed rather, not hallowed, hollowed corpse, and then uh, there's the rattling of chains and solemn chanting in the distance that is a nonsense language because it's impressions. It's not about the words themselves. But you see a corpse that is there's a giant hole in the chest, and there's no life in the eyes, and you can hear like as if someone was like rattling chains, and then there's the like in the distance.
Huh. Again, a language I don't understand.
Yeah, it's not, you get the impression and you realize that it's not about the words, it's about the fact that there's this chanting is a integral part of what's going on with him here. You get the impression that there's probably some magic going on with him.
He's made some kind of deal.
He did say as much.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can't
And you
blame
can
him.
tell that this is magic. Like it's not just lifeless. There's
I've made
magic.
a couple of deals in my time. So.
Yeah. And also, yeah, you can tell that the corpse is empty. The corpse is almost non-existent if it weren't for the fact that there's this person that's been put into it. If this person wasn't the corpse would fall apart into ash.
Does he look like he's barely hanging on?
Oh yes. The vessel, the physical vessel is almost destroyed.
I'll try and not accidentally shoot him.
Who are you trying to fool here? The judges?
I'm just thinking it. I'll do it. You know, technically he's in an abomination, but he's a ghost. Technically, that's Khufu's jurisdiction.
I mean, the dead are not spared Irem's laws.
No, they're not. But I give him preference. You know, I give him first stabs.
Okay. So
he's got you know he's got the knowledge in that area.
So as you're looking at your weapon here, Khufu comes back with an unconscious body draped over a shoulder, probably.
Another heartless.
A drug dealer. Then I'm going to untie the chains that have got Aguiar to the thing, and I'm just going to like drop the body down next to him.
Yeah. So there's a couple of twitches, and you can see some like semblance of sense come back to Aguiar as he senses the body next to him, and you see the painfully slow appearance, much slower than you've seen before, appearance of lion claws extend from his fingers, and he's just like painfully slowly reaches over to like nick the skin of this drug dealer, and as soon as he pricks it enough to cause like beads of blood to well to the surface, he sort of like twitches forward with his body and just like chews into the man's neck, and he's greatly invigorated, and you hear more so than see because he's all over this person now. You hear a crack of the old cartilage as he pushes his hand through to extract this unfortunate drug dealer's heart. And as he's done with the neck, he raises the heart up, still like squishing and like dripping with fresh arterial blood, and it's like just stuffs it into his mouth and devours it. His rib cage starts pulling back together, and yeah, you can see his body like reconstruct itself as he's consumed this.
So I give him a few minutes to like get himself together, literally, and I'm gonna say, "I believe you have some explaining to do, Captain."
Curious, brother. I don't remember spirits eating hearts.
Agion's like shaking himself awake and like standing up, like wobbly. He leans on the telephone pole and says, "No, what the Heartless do, it's kind of their thing, their whole thing. I'm not a big fan, but needs must, as they say. And
Are you
we've
being
been on the seas long enough."
are you being confined in that body against your will?
No, I wanted something more enduring after the one that you gave me.
I can
And he
understand that.
smiles a bit. Like, I acquired this.
So, forgive me again, Khufu. Am I to understand that the spirit from our temple is possessing a heartless?
Captain Aguiar, yes, that's me.
I know who you are, but I'm addressing my brother.
That would seem to be the case, brother.
Yes, I did not know that was possible. That is
Nor did
useful information.
Interesting, is it not?
It is. A weakness, some would say. If one would know how to apply it.
And since you are one of Aristides Borgus Heartless for all intents and purposes, I can not interfere with you.
What? What?
I have a pact with Borgus that I will not intervene or interfere with any of his kind.
Well, I'm Khufu, let me shake your hand. For the first time in who knows how.
Yeah, you can
many
shake my hand,
years.
that's fine, I'm not bothered about that.
I'm very glad that you interfered with me tonight.
Well, perhaps when you next see Borgus, you will mention to him that I interfered only to preserve your life.
Oh no, he doesn't need to know anything about this. Well, he does already. During the time I was all chained up, there's a thought that crossed my mind that,
You were gonna die?
well, I wanted to for a bit there.
See, this is why I never. I just have to go. This is why I never joined your order back in the ancient days. These spirits is just so complicated.
Well, I think, given all that's happened here, and the fact that they got me, it's futile to talk to you, people. He looks at Sobek and Khufu.
You people?
Yes, because you forget, but the details aren't important, but we've done this sort of thing in principle before. I'm not talking about this, motions to the pit of destroyed bodies. We've done ambushes before, and I think tonight I was the bait here. So I don't think I'm going back to Borges for now.
Is he aware?
'Cause I don't want to be the bait when there's an ambush.
Is he
I knew
aware
there was
of
an
who you
ambush,
are?
but they didn't let me know I was the bait.
I understand.
So I suggest we leave because this is looking terrible and terrifying, and I don't want to be here anymore.
Ah, yes, but Khufu, while you were gone, I detected there was an abominable use of some kind of magic, possibly necromantic in nature.
Oh, you think? Let's go. And he starts like trying to corral you guys.
I'm just going to hold up a hand.
Captain, you are on thin ice. You are inside an abomination, which I very much would, should destroy.
Oh, you're going to kill me? Let's go.
I could do
Sobek.
worse.
I'm going to smile a bit when he's like, I'm going to say, well, perhaps you can help us, Captain. I need to follow the one of these, and I'll gesture at the dead Heartless
I
that
can
left
still
here.
feel the fucking knife. God.
So
What
ignoring
were you
him,
saying?
ignoring him moaning on about the knife, I'm going to sort of hold up the lion's jaw and I'm going to say to Sobek, this will allow me to track the creature that I injured, the one that fled.
Can do that.
Yes.
Impressive. I've never used it myself.
If we catch up, can I do the honors?
Once I have found out what I need to know, you are free to do as you will.
Extends a hand. Spits into it. It's pink.
It's
like
fine.
just blood.
Blood doesn't bother me.
Yeah, shakes it. And then he wipes his mouth. Like, Didn't realize I'm reconstructing my body from
It's fine.
basically a pile of offal.
There is still this pile of human carnage.
Yeah, which is why we can't be got here. We need to leave now.
I agree. And I'm gonna concentrate on the lion's jaw. Allows me to track, sense the presence and direction and whatever of a person up to a distance of 1 mile. And if they're beyond that, I can still track them with like 3 bonus dice.
Yeah.
Do we have what is known as the cleanup crew in our cult?
Don't worry about it. The mortal authorities will deal with it. Because they're not
Given
gonna.
that you,
They're gonna have no
left
sign
bodies
of
here,
like supernatural shiz, are they? So
they will put this down to some insane, criminal hit.
also, there's a dead drug dealer here, so
It's very easy for them to write it down as a revenge hit. I think of particularly epic proportions.
Missing
Now
hat, maybe.
we need to go because we don't want to be part of that epic.
yeah. My plan is to leave, use the lion's jaw to track the heartless that escaped.
As we head out.
Yeah, the head out is going to be the ending of this as you walk, and Captain Aguirre just looks like. So that's a compass now.
It is
Nods at your axe.
I'll say it is a hunter's weapon, and we are hunting.
And then, roll credits.
I'll be like, I take it your conversations were peaceful.
Right. So.
Roll credits.
I think.
Thank
that's
you
it
very much.
for
Very
us.
much enjoyed it. Right, I'll stop the recording here.